when you paint, number one, you're gonna have, in your case, a tray, okay? In my case, or the luxurious way to paint, okay, you could say, try to find a piece of glass or a piece of plexi, okay? I backed this with just white board so I could see my colors properly, okay, that's all, okay? So if you could work out something like this at home, okay, that's perfect for when you're painting at home. When you're here, you can paint in your tray, no problem, okay? Or if you want to get a little piece of plexi, you could use that piece of plexi for class, that's fine too, okay? Now, the way I set up my paint is, and this is acrylic, so it dries fast. I set it up and I put my white first. Then after I put my white, I put my yellow. And after my yellow, I tend to leave a space because I will most probably mix other shades. But I want to keep it basic right now for you guys, you know, that are learning. So I go from the yellow to the red. And then from the red, I go to the blue. Okay? Sorry. All right. And I go to the blue. Now, of course, you are going to come up with other colors. You could leave a space in between if you want to mix the other shades, and I'll show you how to mix them today, okay? Another thing I tend to do is I spray the surface so my paint stays wet, okay? Now, another thing. With painting, there's so much to know. All right, your little painting box, okay, you're going to get some brushes. Now, let me just go through a quick kind of hash of what we got going on in here. Round brushes are normally, you know, flexible. They give you thick lines, they give you thin lines. The flat brushes, okay, they give you wide, quick, fast strokes. A lot of painters like these flat brushes. I love them. I love the flat brush and I love the filbert. When I start off, I work with filbert. It's a long bristled brush that kind of looks round at the end, and it's bouncy. I love it because I could quickly sketch out my subject and then I could start painting afterwards. Because I kind of work alla prima most of the time. Now, the next step that you need to know. So flat brushes, round brushes, and there's some more that you'll develop throughout time. And like I said, the filbert. I don't have a filbert here, but like I described, it's long and it's kind of round at the edge, which kind of gives you a bouncy kind of feel. Now another thing, one more thing I work with sometimes, especially with acrylic, when I'm home and I'm using mostly my Week1. Week1 is something to speed up oil paint. And I also use my linseed oil. And this dries clear. It's basically, I'll tell you, this is glue. It's just a little thicker than glue, okay? Let me just verify that this is polymer gloss medium coat. Yes, that's what it is. It looks like it's white paint, but it's not. It better not be. Otherwise they jip me. Now, all right, the color, how did it all begin? Sir Isaac Newton, okay, came along and he kind of discovered this, you could say, pattern of colors. It was Roy G. Biv, and this was in the 18th century. Later on, another gentleman, I forget his name, but it starts with an M, he designed the color wheel. I think it was Mendel something or the other. Now, he designed the actual color wheel, the schematic. Now, colors, another name for color is hue, okay? Then you have here, within the color wheel, let me get my, this color wheel here is the most basic, okay? And I said show it frequently, okay, because it's so basic. But what it is that, I'll put it back up here so you can see it while I talk. Pretty basic color wheel. It's got the primary and the secondary colors, okay? That's all I basically need. Oh, and it just switched it, sorry. Oh, and it's not gonna let me go backwards? What?
No, because the paper's on it.
Paper, why do you do that? Okay. All right, within the color wheel, I'll put it, I don't know, here. Yeah, there we go. All right, within the color wheel, okay, a few things that you need to know. Yeah, the primary and the secondary colors, okay? Primary are the colors you need, and that is what actually I have laid out here on this palette, okay? Without those colors, you can't get the other colors, okay? Now, can you get all the colors from this? Yes, you can, believe it or not. Now, I'm gonna show you how it works. Very quickly, for instance, you've got the primary, like I said, secondary, let me kind of show you. I'm gonna kind of raise this up a bit so some of you can see as well as on the camera there. All right, so with orange, you basically take yellow, and you just need a little dab of it. A little dab of that. See how red that is? So what you need to do is add more yellow in order to get it into the orange realm, okay? That right there is an orange shade, and you don't need much. You just need a little dab. These two colors, all you need are little tiny, like, you literally take a brush and just go like, ding, that's enough to set it on fire. So right there, that's the orange, okay, the orange shade. Now, also when you work, you gotta make sure you got water. And I always bang it to the bottom of the brush, bang your brush to the bottom of the cup. Now, and I also like to keep a paper towel nearby so that way I can wipe off my brush, make it less juicy, you could say. Okay, now, the purple, if I take the red and I take just a little dab, and you're supposed to wash your brush in between, I'm sorry, that's kind of an illegal method here. I mean, ooh, now see how it set it on fire? It's almost, yeah, there you go, is a purple. The purple that you're used to seeing is knocked up with a little bit of white, believe it or not. Yeah, just a tinge of white will knock it to the purple that you're used to seeing, okay? Now, the other shade, the green, you're gonna use the yellow again, okay? And then you take that yellow and you take a little bit of that, very tiny bit, very smidgen of the blue, and bam, it sets it on fire. And you've got your shade of green. And the darker, you just add a little bit more blue, okay? Whatever green, and then sometimes you can mix green together with the orange. Any of the mixing of what we call, here, let me move to the other slide, okay? Primary, secondary, okay? These are the secondary, okay? Now, moving along. Now, when we talk about color too, there's value and there is something called intensity of color. If I take a red shirt, I throw it in the wash 50 times, it's gonna turn pink, okay? Sometimes when you're working, I'll say, hey, bump up the intensity on the value of that red, okay? Meaning that it gets brighter. Get brighter with it, yes. Yeah, okay. This down.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries, all right. So, yeah, you guys pretty much got the gist of the color wheel, right? Okay, don't need to keep that up. All right, now, so intensity is the brightness or dullness of a color. And value variation, the lightness and the darkness, okay? Now, another thing you need to know is color relationships, okay? Whenever you have colors, they have a relationship. It's either they are across from each other on the color wheel, okay? Across, they're complementary. And what are complements used for? They're used for creating what we call contrast. If, let's say, you have a yellow banana you want that yellow banana to stand out, okay? Contrast, you want to create contrast. You're going to use what? Purple, okay? If you have an apple and you want that apple on the table to stand out, you might make the tablecloth a little bit of what? Green, okay? It is always across from each other. These are little tricks that artists use to grab your attention towards something, all right? Now, so there are complementary and they're analogous. They're side by side. They harmonize. And what they do is that they create this harmony, this blending. Okay, like if you want something to have that dimensionality, that chiaroscuro, you're going to use the analogous shades of color. Okay? Now, whether you tint or shade it, what do I mean by tinting or shading? You could have white or black. Okay? Now, black, yes, you'll have black when you work. Black, believe it or not, is the shade and tint is the white. Let's say you're painting a scene at night and you want the leaves to appear like they are in the real life. You will take your green, add a tinge of black into the mix, and there you now have shaded your green. And the shading of green turns into more of like a forest kind of green, okay? Now, another interesting mix too that I learned is that you could use yellow and you could use a bit of the black and it turns that mix into a green as well, okay? Actually, Bouguereau, he's a famous artist, was amazing with his his mixing of colors and flesh tones. He used a lot of that black and white in flesh tones to help out with his, you could say, the value and dimensionality within the work that he created. And then even many artists will start off with black and white composition, and then they paint it afterwards, which Art One will be doing. Okay, Art One, you are going to do that. Not this lesson, but the next one after. Okay. Now, so like I said, there's the complementary and the analogous. Now, the monochromatic, they are used, like I said, nighttime scenes. You need to tint, you need to shade something in darkness or in the high or light and usually muted shades. Like if you needed to make a peach shade, let's say, you would take that orange, mix it together with a little bit of white, take that orange, and then you've got that peachy tone. And if you want even more, not take it off camera, I think. I just took it off camera by mistake. There we go. That becomes like a peachy tone, okay? And the more yellow you put into it, and the more white you put into it, the lighter it's gonna get. And you could go dark, you could go light, accordingly. Now another thing too, the other mix that I need to let you know about is when you're making neutral tones, okay? Neutrals tend to help out whenever you need to create a brown shade. Browns are made from any of the complementaries. This is going to give you a red brown. This is going to give you an orange brown. This is going to give you a yellow brown, okay? So, but I'll tell you, the only true method of learning this is what? Practice, okay? I could tell you all the theory in the world, but if you don't use it and try it out and see what happens, it doesn't connect. At least with me, it doesn't connect, okay? Now, makes sense? All this makes sense to my painting one? Okay, good. Now, it is up online to help you too. Warm and cool colors. Okay, warm colors, there are red, oranges, and yellows. They tend to come out. Then you've got the cool colors. That's purple, blue, and green. Purple, blue, and green, think of ocean. And the warm colors, think of fire, okay? The cool colors tend to recede. So think, hey, what do I want to do in my art? What am I trying to say? Do I want this to stand out? Do I want this to be a tranquil painting? Do I want people to meditate when they look at my art? Do I want them to feel calm and peaceful?